Yes, we are following breaking news this hour. At least 10 people dead in a mass shooting at the Tops Market on Jefferson Avenue.
Police say around 2:30 this afternoon, an 18-year-old man arrived at the store heavily armed and wearing tactical gear. He got out of his vehicle and shot 4 people in the parking lot.
The man then entered the store, allegedly live streaming online with a camera. Police say once he got inside of the Tops Market, he was met by a security guard who was a retired police officer. The guard shot the alleged suspect, who shot back. The security guard died at the scene.
They also say the alleged shooter continued through that store, shooting at employees and shooting at customers. Buffalo police moved in to the store bravely, where the man then pointed the gun at himself. However, police say the man did surrender after that and was then taken into custody. In total, 13 people were shot here, and 10 of them, unfortunately, have died.
Officials say that the man was not from Buffalo and drove here from outside of our community.
And Claudine, at this point, the attack appears to be racially motivated.
This was pure evil. It was straight up racially motivated hate crime from somebody outside of our community, outside of the city of good neighbors, as the mayor said, coming into our community and trying to inflict that evil upon us.
Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown adding that this is a sad, dark day in the city of Buffalo's history.
Is a day of great sadness for all of us in the city of Buffalo. Our deepest and most heartfelt condolences are with the families of those who lost their lives today tragically and unnecessarily.
And Mayor Byron Brown says that Governor Kathy Hochul is in fact on her way to Buffalo right now and should arrive within the next hour.
I started calling people that I know were working in the store so they could tell me their location and where they were at. I did a little bit of relaying, but it's hard. It's hard. I'm up here every day. I'm up here 7 days a week. I know everybody in the neighborhood. I know everybody that was working in there.
And what word have you gotten on some of the people you know that have become a victim? What do you know? Without saying names.
I know that I've lost 3 people that were close to me. I also know that 2 others were shot. I lost 3 people today that I know and talk to 5-6 times a week. One, a friend of over 30 years. Another person I've known for 20 years. This is insane.
Are they the people you know, are they employees there? Were they grocery shopping today? What do you know?
People that worked at the store, as well as one of my fellow people that does what I do. And it's a tough day. It's a tough day. We're talking about good people. We're talking about people that help people every day. And for somebody to come and do this I'm always here for my people. I gotta be here. Me and the store manager had a conversation. We hugged each other, and we couldn't stop hugging each other and crying.
You can just hear it in his voice. And Kirsten Gillibrand issued a statement saying, in part, my prayers are with the victims of this racially motivated act of violence. The senator adding that she will fight to pass common sense gun safety measures.
And John Elmore, John, you could just hear it in that gentleman's voice. This is a day that none of us will ever forget in Western New York. Just a real huge tragedy for this community.
I think that we mentioned that the city growth thing, but I think probably in my memory, one day that was just as sad was the day the airplane went down at 3407. But this is even worse because that was an accident and this was intentional. Somebody actually drove 3.5 hours with the intent of committing mass destruction and taking as many lives as he possibly could. Over 50 shots fired, 10 grieving families because their loved ones were taken away, 3 other people injured. The fear of people that live in the neighborhood, and the fear of just everybody in Western New York, knowing that this city of brotherly love, this community where we were all trying to get along and survive and get back on our feet from the pandemic, where we're just, we've been isolated all winter wearing masks and afraid to go out, and we're finally taking masks off and we can see people's smiles and just recognize people from their smiles and actually see teeth and not just try to figure out whose eyes those are underneath the mask, and breathing fresh air. And to just think that people just going to get groceries, to get fresh fruit and cereal and bread and take it home, were senselessly killed, people that did nothing wrong. Wake up, America. We have to do something to keep these weapons of mass destruction out of people who are going to do harm and kill innocent people.
Right now, you are looking at a picture. Our Ron Plants is inside of the courtroom where the shooter is about to be arraigned.
It's hard to know what to say. This is my community. I know this community well. I've walked these streets. I know the individuals who live here. It's a wonderful, tight-knit neighborhood. And to see that sense of security shattered by an individual, a white supremacist who has engaged in an act of terrorism and will be prosecuted as such, in a cold-hearted, cruel, calculating way. A military-style execution targeting people who simply want to buy groceries in a neighborhood store. It strikes us in our very hearts.
Tonight, our community is shocked, saddened, and outraged.
You've just picked a fight with 20 million New Yorkers.
The victims, our neighbors, family, and friends.
I know he went to heaven.
It's hard to talk to someone one day and then they're gone the next day.
Those lives lost to an evil hard to comprehend.
This individual came here with the expressed purpose of taking as many black lives as he possibly could.
Now, calls to come together.
We need to unite and be better from this because we are a city of love, respect, and compassion.
A special hour-long edition of Channel 2 News at 6 starts now.
Well, now more than 24 hours after a deadly mass shooting here in Buffalo, many questions still remain and many hearts are aching tonight. Good evening, I'm Scott Levin.
And I'm Claudine Ewing along Jefferson Avenue and Riley. Right behind me is the Tops Supermarket where sheer horror actually took place yesterday. The investigation is beginning to take shape. Law enforcement agencies are here. They are working around the clock to bring justice to those who lost their lives yesterday at this supermarket, inside as well as outside. Of the 13 people who were shot yesterday, 10 people, as we know, were killed. 2 of the 3 injured have been released from the hospital. 11 of the victims, black, targeted because of their race. According to prosecutors, the shooter remains in custody without bail, charged with first-degree murder. Welcome back. If you are now just joining us, we are continuing to stand with our community, a community that is saddened, a community that is shocked after yesterday's mass shooting here on Jefferson Avenue, right near Riley, between Riley and Landon. This is the Tops Supermarket behind me where so many people would frequent on a daily basis. Community members are now coming together to mourn.
But we will heal because this is Buffalo and we're strong.
Racism and white supremacy alive and well?
Yes, they are. We have seen the writings of an individual who posted his intent in a manifesto, and this did not originate in his head alone in a place called Broome County. This is the result of the penetration of social media platform by these hateful messages, and it's an overall global philosophy that says that we are concerned, these individuals are concerned about being replaced by blacks and immigrants and Jews. This is what they chanted as they marched through Charlottesville. This has been their manifesto. So
this has to stop. It has to stop. The hate has to stop. We need more love.
Beyond my thought process, I can't even, that's why I say I'm still shocked that someone could even have that much hate in themselves to go and do something like that. And I think the older I get, obviously having kids and putting myself in that situation, obviously there's some, which you just mentioned, 8-year-old Hayden, like that's just, that's sad. That's beyond sad.
Joining me live is Pastor Darius Pridgeon. This is a day you didn't think would happen. I didn't think would ever happen. You fought for this store to be built here. As you stand here now and you see state police, Buffalo police in this parking lot, and it's shut down, what are you thinking?
Well, this whole community fought so hard for many years, not only for the store to be here, but for the store to improve in the last few years. And working with TOPS, they did that. I don't think we ever thought this would happen. My grandmother's house is 2 houses away from this store. I live 2 blocks away. This is the store I shop at, and my wife shops at. And so we didn't think that we'd ever see crime scene tape around this store.
Driving up here, there were people from the neighborhood who were very clear and very blatant saying, tell it like it is on the news, don't sugarcoat it. The woman was very loud about it. We're not sugarcoating it, because what happened here was all about what?
This is all about racism. This is all about white supremacy. This is all about evil. I know a lot of people want to have the mental health conversation, and maybe later we can. But at this point, this was evil, and we have to face that. And anybody who does not say it was about racism, maybe they haven't read the manifesto. Anybody who says it was not about white supremacy, maybe they didn't see the map that was drawn in which he wrote he was going to kill black people. Anybody who says it's not about racism, maybe they didn't see, and hopefully they didn't, the videos and see that he targeted people of color, black people.
And also in that we've heard from police that he was here the day before.
Yes.
When you look at that manifesto, there are certain things that pop out to me, certain streets. Emsley. What's at Emsley and William?
Well, what's at Emsley and William are African Americans. What's at TOPS are African Americans. What's on Jefferson, one of the most historic streets for African Americans, is African Americans. He knew what he was coming for. And if we, at this time in America and in Western New York, do not admit that there are still people who hate people because of their color, who hate people because of their skin, then we're missing the opportunity to really move this country forward.
Can we see the renaissance of Jefferson Avenue again?
Well, I think, that was already starting to happen, but now I think what is happening is, I just left a service in which there were black and white, Jew, Gentile, you name it, Muslim, all in one place. And I think if we can keep the focus on the fact that it was one killer, that it wasn't a race that came against a race, it wasn't white America coming against black America, this was an evil person who came to kill. We must keep the focus there.
That's right, because there are white people right in front of us standing here helping out. So we know this is not about all people. This is about one individual. Children are going back to school. Your children are standing over there. What do you tell these kids when they go back?
Well, my grandson is here. My kids, 2 of my sons are here. And I'm always concerned about especially black boys. And I have teenagers and their mother shields them, so much. But I understand it a lot better. And right now, there is this kind of uneasiness. And we shouldn't have to be uneasy in our own country. We shouldn't have to be uneasy in our own community. And we daggone sure shouldn't have to be uneasy in a grocery store. But the fact is that I'm sure that this is not the last racist person in this area. And so we have to be cautious.
That is something that none of us should forget. Final question. President Biden coming to town. What do you know? What do you want him to take away after he leaves the city of Buffalo, after he leaves Jefferson Avenue?
If the president comes to Buffalo, I think that he needs to see the neighborhoods. I'll be very clear. I feel that Washington must pay more attention to our neighborhoods. I love other countries, and I want to see other countries do well. But I want to see our country do well. I want to see our neighborhoods do well. I want to see some of the most neglected neighborhoods financially from the federal government do well and do better. He must see the real east side of Buffalo.